Well, again, I was kind of an experimenter at the farm all the time too, and this would have never happened had Brent Hunter not been the boss. It was just the perfect combination of things and people. I started there in 1984, and it was in the 90s actually when I had become so frustrated with trying to manage the moisture in hay while we baled. It was my responsibility then to make sure that things were done right. Either had too much dew, not enough dew, or no dew at all. This year was that year was 1994 when we just had a particularly dry year. It was typical, but it was just really frustrating, maybe a little worse than average. And it was in June, and we just got no natural dew for several weeks in a row. And so we had quite a bit of hay on the ground. It wasn't a real big operation. It was about a 500-600 acre operation at the time, but we had 200 or 300 acres down that we just couldn't get conditions that were good for baling. And I had thought about this a little. I knew about people who had used a spray rig, like a field sprayer that they would spray weeds with, or different things that would go out and put water on the windrows just with a boom and let it kind of percolate for a little bit and then try to bale. But it never worked well. And I just was like, gosh, there's got to be something. There's got to be something here that we could do. And I thought of a few things. And I was just, one night I was home. And I really, really believe that God knows way more than I do. I know he does. And I think he can give us a little help sometimes. So I was just praying for some help to figure out what to do to get our operation in a way that we could actually be a little more consistent. And immediately a thought came to my mind, which I know was straight inspiration, but it was based on an experience that I had had, or experiences I had had in the past, which I think is kind of interesting the way God uses those experiences to bring about other things. And it was seeing the girls at taco time, not just because they were girls. Now, don't take me wrong on that. Back when I was single. But I'd seen them put a tortilla in the little steamer oven, and older people will remember those. I think there's a few places that still use them, but they'd put them in, shut the door, push a little button, it would throw some water on some hot coils in there and create an instant shot of steam, and they pulled it right out, and it was soft and all warmed up nice to make a taco or a burrito or whatever. Yeah. So that was the thought that just hit me right then, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's interesting, because I knew what the tortillas felt like. They weren't wet. Right. But they were warm, but they weren't hot. Right. But they were soft. Right. That's what I needed. Right. So the next day, it was while I had hay on the ground, the next day I took a cardboard box out of the shop down there at the farm and went out in the field and just carefully gathered an armload of hay and put it in the box. I went and knocked all the leaves off, and I took it into my wife's kitchen and put it on the counter there by the stove. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I do a little experiment here. And she's like, why are you in my kitchen? Get out of here. So I got a little pressure cooker that we had and put it on the stove with some water in it. And I had gotten a little piece of automotive vacuum hose, which is just a little small rubber hose, and put on the top where the pressure weight fit on the pressure cooker normally. Got the steam going, and then I just put that hose down in that box of hay in about 6 places, I would say, and let it just run for 2 or 3 seconds in each spot. And it was a good little stream of steam. I reached my hand in there, and honestly, I was like, wow, that was truly an answer to my prayers. Really? It was just unbelievable what it did and how quickly it did it. It blew my mind. It just softened it up. Liven it up a bit or something? It wasn't wet, but it was moist. Yeah. But it was soft and just pliable, not brittle anymore.